Welcome to MCC Daytona charity stream. We're going to have a race tonight for 50 minutes. It's going to be quite exciting. We also have some exciting news that we're going to share with you today. We are sponsored by Mayfair Gearbox, and I just want to talk to you about Mayfair Gearbox. Mayfair Gearbox was established in 1991. Management team geared towards outstanding quality, integrity, and service. The Mayfair Gearbox brand has grown from a single Johannesburg location to 19 branches across 4 African countries, with specialized product divisions catering for manual, automatic passenger vehicles, 4x4s, heavy commercial vehicles, and buses, as well as trucks and earth-moving equipment. Mayfair Gearbox has become South Africa's leading gearbox and diff remanufacturing group. For private, commercial, or industrial remanufactured gearbox-related solutions, contact Mayfair Gearbox with 19 branches nationwide today. Our next sponsor is Gorilla Garage. Gorilla Garage is a vehicle wrap company founded on the pure love and passion for automotive customization. They offer vehicle wraps, custom decals and designs, vehicle and fleet branding, roof wraps, and custom trim wraps. They have also made custom wraps for drivers' steering wheels and rigs that are racing tonight. Call them to give your ride a unique touch. Our final sponsor is SAP Speed. SAP Speed is recognized in South Africa and internationally to be specialists in BMW turbo performance tuning. And with that, we are going to talk to you about the Men's Foundation. We have Garon, who is... Garon, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, thanks, Tudis. Great to firstly be with you guys tonight, and a big thank you to not only the sponsors, but everyone that's participating, because this is a conversation that we certainly need to have. June is Men's Health Month, and we just celebrated Father's Day yesterday, and this conversation is so relevant, especially in terms of what we're doing with the work that we're doing with the Men's Foundation. And a little bit of background about myself. So I'm a social entrepreneur. I've been involved with cause-related and charity projects for the last 20-odd years, from social upliftment to health and welfare, to teaching and education, to school feeding. And in 2009, I grew, well, it was actually 2007, I grew my first moustache when there was a very unknown charity that's now very prevalent, but Movember, which at the time nobody knew what Movember was, but a group of friends like this community that's joining tonight, we got together and had some fun and grew a moustache, and that's what led to me communicating with Movember to find out more about what felt like a one-night stand. It was a lot of fun, and we had a lot of jokes between friends, because even clients were asking me questions if I was going to buy a motorbike and start to join the Hells Angels. But there was something about it that encapsulated me in terms of how that conversation with the 7 of us that grew, and realizing that by uniting for a month and dedicating our faces to a cause for a month had scope, especially in South Africa, where no one had ever heard of prostate cancer or dealing with men with depression and suicide. And certainly that's what led to my involvement with Movember, that over 13 years before they unexpectedly withdrew out of South Africa, and unfortunately, but in 2015 they asked me to establish the local charity, which is the Men's Foundation, to continue running Movember in the country. And Movember was our flagship fundraising campaign until they withdrew unexpectedly. And that's obviously not ideal, because certainly if we look at the statistics and some of the figures that I'm going to be talking about tonight, we have got a serious problem in this country. We've got so many other problems, but the problem that we have, in addition to the fact with men's health, is that men aren't prioritized. If you look at how even governments and parliaments are set up, we've got a minister of women and children and people with disabilities, but there's nothing that's dedicated to men. And certainly if we start to look at the figures that I'm going to be sharing with you tonight, we realize the importance of us and why we need to change the dialect. We need to change how, firstly, society and government is supporting men, but also how we as men need to take accountability for our health. So the Men's Foundation's constitution is about improving the life expectancy of men. And that's our vision, to have an impact by 2030 to reduce, or rather increase the life expectancy of men. Because what are you going to learn? And certainly out of, there's 16 of us that's joining in racing tonight. So the research shows that the impact of this conversation, the impact of the awareness that we're having, is that 55% of men that hear this conversation will start to take action. Now, I want you to choose which of those men you want to be. Are you going to sit within the 45, or are you going to sit within the 55%? Because this is so important. Because when we look at the fact that men are dying too young, and gender remains one of the strongest and most consistent predicators of health and life expectancy. And the reason why is because in South Africa, there's an average of a 7-year lower life expectancy between men and women. And mainly because of unavoidable reasons, the reasons that we can avoid men dying too young. So if we look at, when we talk about gender equality, we hear it regularly. We've got Women's Month, we've got gender equality taking place in the workplace. But when we're looking at life expectancy and the fact that men's health and the prioritizing of men's health is so underfunded and underprioritized, it remains one of the big reasons why I've committed and continued on this journey with the Men's Foundation. So some of the work that we've managed to do is we've got the prostate cancer policy, because when we started with Movember was about prostate cancer. But we realized that a lot of men were starting to take their own lives because of the side effects of prostate cancer. Because the side effects include sexual impotency, hormone replacement therapy, and incontinence. And a lot of men were resorting to taking their own lives. And we realized we needed to step in and do something about that as well. And that's when the statistics about men's health and suicide in South Africa started to get my attention. Because we started to connect all of the dots. We looked at the high rates of, and the leading unnatural causes of death for men in this country is murder, the high rate of accidents and driving under the influence on our roads, but also then suicide, and these all can be related to our patriarchal mindset. And we're connecting the dots, and we realize that men in this country are suffering. But the truth is that we as men are not allowed to suffer, because when we define who we are as men, if we look at masculinity, one of the leading values associated with masculinity is being strength and being self-dependent. So we don't want to be able to have to depend on somebody else. We want to suffer, and it results in men suffering in silence, because we don't think that by reaching out or starting this conversation that we don't realize other men are struggling in the same way. So some of the statistics I want to share with you today, and this is certainly is going to lead you to understand the prevalence of why we're dealing with what we've got. So we are sitting with, in 2019, the research that the WHO did showed that South Africa had the second highest suicide rates in the world. This very close second to Russia. Now, if you consider what's been happening in Russia over the past few years, and the latest statistics show that South Africa has got the highest suicide statistics, where 4 out of every 5 suicides are men in the country, with an average of 17 to 18 men taking their lives in this country every day. So, and this is pre-pandemic levels. So the latest statistics, and obviously post-COVID, if we're looking at how job losses and financial insecurity and isolation has led to this, we need to start looking at how we need to address this. And this is part of what I'm going to be chatting to you about tonight. So I don't want to take up too much of your time, but some of the important things that you need to understand is that globally, 1 man dies every minute from suicide. But in South Africa, 1 man dies every 18 minutes, which is the duration of a rugby match. So every time you watch a rugby match, it'll give you an idea that we've lost another man, and that's consistently going on. So we need to, as the Men's Foundation, what we're doing is the customized approach to dealing with men, because we know that you cannot look at men and women's health through the same lens. You have to look at it through the lens of a male. And certainly these are the support programs and initiatives that we're invested into with what we're doing. So 58 million children and adolescents, or roughly 301 million people, have an anxiety disorder. And what we need to also understand is that when we look at the statistics, is that one of the challenges we have in addressing men's mental health issues in this country is that depression is a precursor to suicide. And what's the influences that lead to depression and suicide in men? To understand this, there's various different influences. Firstly, our history and our environment plays a pivotal role as to the reason as to why we're dealing with such high statistics in this country. If we look at pre-1994, there's a lot of men that's reaching out to our organization that are dealing with post-traumatic stress on both sides of fighting the oppression. So on the one hand, we've got a lot of men that were given a weapon and a uniform and told to oppress the other side of society, and they didn't necessarily agree with it. But they saw things that they weren't, at being at 18 and being told to do these things, they didn't believe in it. And they're dealing with a lot of post-traumatic stress, a lot of men that are in their 50s and 60s that are reaching out and resorting to alcohol, resorting to drugs, resorting to doing harmful things to themselves because they've never dealt with what they were subjected to do. And likewise, the other side of the scale, when men that were fighting against oppression, it led to a violent nature and the culture that we have within society today. Because what happened after 1994 was rapid urbanization, people leaving and moving to the city to find work. And what also led to the fact that we've got massive amounts of fatherless households that we're dealing with. So a lot of men don't have those positive role models to teach them with how to deal with things. And especially a lot of the time, men were sitting with isolation, were sitting on their own and not knowing how to address it because we were taught that being vulnerable was a sign of weakness and not a sign of strength. So often our dads didn't speak about these things. They often just sat there in the corner and we didn't necessarily know. He didn't teach us to identify with emotions other than aggression because, again, we had to be strong. We had to be self-reliant and we could not show weakness. So part of this is also the fact that our health-seeking behaviors, men just generally don't go and look for help. We often tend to ignore even the physical health matters, and let alone the mental health matters, because we firstly don't know where to go, but also when we start the conversation and what we call shoulder-to-shoulder conversations is when we can normalize this conversation and understanding that by having these conversations, we address one of the biggest challenges and the biggest barriers to seeking help, which is the stigma associated with mental health. So this is what we need to understand. Some of the influences to these factors is stress and anxiety. It's proven through research that men manage stress worse than women, and it's a precursor to depression. But this is often because of our role within the home, within society, because there's this expectation that we have. We need to be the providers, we need to be the protectors. And sometimes it's a little bit difficult, and also our own personal identities of who we are. We often associate who we are by the jobs that we have, the cars that we drive, and the position that we hold within society. But sometimes when it's taken away, especially what we saw through the pandemic, we start to question who we really are. We need to get back to what defines us as man and men, and to realize that the decisions that we make is going to have the impact on our destiny. But to talk about the stigma and how we view mental health is one of the biggest challenges that we have. So while the stigma surrounding mental health and mental illness and depression affects people of all genders, but research shows that men tend to have an even harder time admitting that we need to get the help that we need. The language remains the primary driver of the stigma, so it reinforces messages associated with mental health challenges. When we're talking about people suffering with certain mental health issues, we noticed, and I've noticed, that the language around mental health has changed. Before, the media used to refer to someone committing suicide as if they were committing a crime. But that conversation has changed because now you'll see in the media that they refer to it as someone taking their own lives. They don't necessarily refer to it as committing suicide. And I've noticed a few of the media houses have changed their dialogue around that. So language remains a very, very important influencer, because often we, in our everyday language, when we refer to somebody, we'll refer to them as being crazy or mad, and looks like schizophrenic someone's being. It reinforces that stigma. So we need to start looking at the language that we use and how we reinforce those stigmas. One of the things that you didn't realize, and certainly so appropriate because we just celebrated Father's Day, but men becoming fathers for the first time, the research is showing that men are at the highest risk of becoming suicidal, becoming fathers for the first time, a 47% higher risk of suicide becoming fathers for the first time. And we can understand why. Because certainly we as men face some of the toughest developmental challenges and changes going through fatherhood. Because naturally now there's this new arrival, there's all this new expectations, our support systems are not the same, our friends are not the same, because now we start to hang out with people that we met in antenatal classes, and certainly lack of sleep, having to prioritize this new arrival. We're not getting the exercise that we need, and also the support structure in terms of mom that's there is obviously tending to babies. So you are not necessarily the first priority. And they've shown now that men are suffering with postpartum depression. It's not only women that are suffering with this. And you start to notice that in some workplaces, they've also facilitated that there can be maternity leave or considerations to the fact. But the other side effects, the other things that come up is that the highest rate of anxiety disorders come about with men for the first time becoming fathers. And the increase in stress levels have a massive impact. So a big shout out to the fathers that are on the group tonight. And I don't know how many of you are there, but certainly for you to recognize and identify, to find the necessary support groups. And that's one of the groups that we're looking at establishing. That's the Dudes for Dads support group that will enable that men will have the necessary support that they have to be able to reach out and get the support that they need. Relationships and connections is also very important. We're born into relationships. Even our parents at some time of their life, and whether they're together or not, they were in a relationship. And the number and quality of relationships, we often sacrifice the quality of relationship for a number of people. And we often tend to think that in social media, if we've got 500 Facebook friends or 2,500 Facebook friends, those are really friends, and we start to gauge it. But it's the quality of those relationships that are most important. And we need to start looking at what those types of relationships are that we have. So we need to surround ourselves with people that reinforce this for us. So mental health in the workplace is also very important. You notice that there's been a massive influence and a massive direction and shift with getting the necessary support in the workplace because of this need for us to do this. And there's a need for us to start taking those action steps from employees, or rather employers, to seminars or workshops that address depression and stress, as well as the management techniques. And also when it gets to relationships, the toxic relationships that sometimes exist in the workplace is also influencing the mental health and well-being of employees. So this is the important thing, to ensure that if you're working in an organization, that this conversation needs to be had, and that there needs to be some positive direction in terms of ensuring that the support structures are in place to deal with stress and depression, and even how to address management techniques. So mindfulness, breathing exercises, meditation, all those types of things, because naturally a happy workplace is going to have that positive influence. The societal influences and the expectations that society has on men's health. We looked at what happened recently where Will Smith, and he's had 2 meltdowns in the media and publicly of recent. You remember I think it was 2021 where he had that interview with, towards the end of 2020, he had that interview with Oprah, and he melted down on live television. And what came out of it was that he was ridiculed. There was social media memes posted around with him, and he was mocked about it. And what came out of that was we realized that men are either becoming a meme for expressing themselves or becoming a memory. Because when they don't express themselves, they're taking their own lives. But when they do express themselves, they're getting ridiculed. And this is where society and the environment that we're operating is also having a massive influence on us. Because, again, when we're getting ridiculed in this expectation, it's not creating that environment for us to be comfortable to be able to reach out and get the necessary help that we need. So this is so important with where we need to look at masculinity. Because when there's been a massive attack on masculinity as a whole, because all masculinity has been considered to be toxic, but we need to start redefining what's toxic and positive or healthy masculinity. Because just with everything that's happened in our country, all men have been branded as being guilty. We've got a massive high rate of femicide, a high rate of rape, gender-based violence. And because of that, men have been cast into this all one size fits all, that all men are guilty. But we need to, as men, start being able to hold other men accountable, but also start to be taking care of ourselves in terms of understanding what is masculinity and how do we define that. We need to understand that firstly, and I've mentioned this earlier, when it comes to strength, we need to understand that when we use our strength for positivity and for good and to protect and not to harm, whether it's ourselves or whether it's the people around us, that's where we redefine what it is to be a masculine male. So we need to understand where it comes from. We need to understand how we can change this for ourselves.
Right.
But fortunately, yes, did you want to ask a question?
No question. Go ahead.
So fortunately, in December 2020, so naturally, we were in development with the first ever prostate cancer policy with the Department of Health, and I was part of that task team. But the pandemic came around, and it still hasn't been finalized as yet. We've obviously changed some health ministers since then, and now they're introducing the NHI, but we still don't have a prostate cancer policy in place, which is one of the leading cancers. Well, it is now the leading cancer in South Africa, surpassing all other forms of cancer, and with a 147% increase expected by 2030. But fortunately, by December 2020, the South African National Integrated Men's Health Strategy was implemented. We haven't yet seen it coming into effect, but men's health and men's mental health was one of the key focus areas to be invested into. This is where the role of what we're doing as civil society comes in, because we work with global organizations. We're a member of the Global Alliance on Men's Health that works with the WHO to prioritize men's health in South Africa. But we're also a member of the Cancer Alliance, where we're working to prioritize and advocate for men to get access to treatment. When all these other cancers, whether it's childhood cancer, breast cancer, cervical cancer, there's vaccines that are given to girls at school for cervical cancer now for free. There's breast cancer policies that have been in existence for almost 20 years, and we as men are still under prioritized. So this is this integrated approach that we need to take, where we need to be accountable for our health, but also then ensure that we advocate to get the necessary support that we need to get.
So, Garon,
yes.
So tell me, how do people get in contact with your organization?
So if you head to our website, you'll see there's my contact number as well as the info@Men's Foundation email address. We've got various support groups that we're setting up right now. Naturally, when November withdrew the campaign, which is our flagship fundraising campaign, we're obviously working to replace whatever fundraising initiative that would enable our funding of these programs going forward. Because again, what we know when it comes to dealing with men's mental health in particular is that it's not a one-size-fits-all approach. It needs to be looked at through the lens of a male. We have got a challenge that there's hardly any male social workers within the system. Right. And also from a male psychologist's point of view, men would rather deal with their peers and speak to their peers. That's why the suicide lines, we were often getting these phone calls with men not wanting to speak to the female psychologists or female counselors on the line because they don't feel comfortable in expressing themselves. Because this is part of what the problem is, because there's this patriarchal mindset that exists. But this is where we're working even with traditional leaders, because even from a traditional leading perspective, where there's not even a word in the Nguni languages for men's mental health, that we need to start to change that. We start to understand. Yes.
And what's the domain of your website? Or what's the name of your website?
I just pasted it in the chat, so I shared it there.
Thanks, Stephen.
Garen, we need to switch over in a minute's time.
Absolutely.
Can I ask that if anyone have any questions, they could perhaps just pop it in the chat, and then we can just liaise with you, or maybe get you on at halftime if there's any questions, just run through them.
Yeah, and thanks again, Garon, and to everybody watching. The donation link is in the comments. Thanks again.
Absolutely, guys. So have fun. We'll hopefully touch base now and at halftime, and then answer any questions that you guys have. But if you don't feel comfortable just reaching on this platform, you're welcome to reach out. Send me an email. We can have a conversation and see what we can do to provide the support if you need any.
Okay. Awesome. Thanks, Garon. Take care.
All right. Thanks, guys. Ciao.
Okay.
Good. And your commentary team for tonight's race is going to be Stephen Wessels and Mithun Kalan. That's me. Right, Stephen, do you want to get through our teams? Because right now on track, they're doing a bit of a lag test race, and then they'll be opening up a lobby in about a minute.
Cool. So we've got Team KBR, Gillibrand, Wolfie, and I believe Richard has been replaced by EcoBoost.
That's right.
Unfortunately, Richard can't make it, but EcoBoost is very strong contender there. Team RTA will be Leap, Galteri, Lorenzo, and Safa, Carl Westhuizen, 3 of them. Team SRT, DC Gaming, Dino, Mr. Mayfair, Gearbox and Diff, and then Dutchman.
Yeah, so what we got from the last week's practice race is that Dean's really fast, but makes a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, see if we can keep it on the black stuff tonight.
Yeah,
Team
then we got,
SMTS. Go for
go
it.
ahead. Team SMTS, we got Fast Ross, Reaper, and Catfish. Catfish is the one that we're going to be paying close attention to, as he tends to make a bit of paint scrapes here and there.
And Team Pace, we've got Serious Sam, Tris, and JOO. So yeah, another strong team. This should be very good racing. We've got 5 Group 2 cars and 10 Group 3 cars. So yeah, it's going to be a tight battle.
Yeah, so we've got a full lobby tonight, 5 teams. So 16 people, well, 15 people racing, and I'll be the 16th cameraman. What's your predictions for tonight's race?
Yeah, it's going to be. I think Group 3 is going to be a hard battle. From what I've seen, all of the top guys are already sitting in Group 3. So if we have a quick quiz at who's racing where, we've got in KBR, Gillibrand will be in G Group 2, Richard and Ichabus Nabofi will be Group 3. RTA, Leap is in the Group 2, Safa and Lorenzo Group 3. So I mean, Group 3 is strong contenders already. Team SRT, SMTS, that's Dutchman in Group 2. Dino and DC Gaming in Group 3, so there's Dino again. Yeah, it's going to be tough. Team SMTS, that's Fast Ross in Group 2, Reaper and Catfish in Group 3. And then Team Pace, we've got Sam in Group 2, so he's definitely going to be one to watch in Group 2. And Trips and JOO is in Group 3, so yeah, it's going to be, I think Group 3 is obviously it's double the cars, but by the looks of it, I think the battle for first place is going to be good.
That's awesome. There's going to be some tough battles, because when we ran the test race, we had 3 classes. Now we've only got 2, so we got 10 drivers in Group 3, and it's gonna be quite tough for them.
Yeah, I mean it's going to be anyone's game, eh? There's a bit of fuel saving involved. Tires aren't too bad. It's more fuel. The Group 2s are more of a flat out race. Long track slipstreaming. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be good.
Yeah. I'm going to join the lobby right now. They should be starting quali in about a minute. So we can take a look at the cars that are on track.
Okay, see the guys they're all in practice at the moment. Carla's just getting everybody ready, prepping the lobby. EcoBoost running the Porsche.
EcoBoost is going to be right up there.
Yep, he always is. Catfish in the Porsche. His tuxedo livery Porsche. Wolfie in his Merc. Got Dino in a Mercedes. Last week he wasn't in a Mercedes, he was in something else. Dutchman running the NSX. And we've got
Serious Space in a Group 2 Nissan GTR.
Yep, the Nismo.
Got Trivs in a Merc GR3.
A lot of Mercs, more than normal. Lorenzo in the Porsche RSR.
Lexus.
DC Gaming in the Porsche. So it's mostly Porsches and Mercedeses. Eh? It's interesting choice. Very interesting running a Group 2 NSX. That's very rare. That's not normally one car someone goes for. A Dutchman is running the Group 2 NSX.
NSX is my least favorite car in Group 2.
Yeah, look, I don't know. Like I haven't really played it in GT7, but in Gran Turismo Sport, the NSX used to be slightly slower but better in the turns, but also more difficult. So it has. On this track, I would have thought the Nissan would have been the go-to, but yeah, let's see. Anything can happen, eh? If they started quali.
they've started quali, so it's a 5-minute quali.
Is everybody on track?
Everyone's on track.
Triv's on mediums. They're probably going to change tires now. I saw JOO was on hards. That's not the best tire to quali on. There we go. Everybody's heading out. So, predictions.
Ooh,
Group 2.
that's a
Who's going to
tough
take
one.
pole? Who's going to take pole in Group 2?
Gila. I would put KBR Gila on Group 2 pole.
Yeah, based on the test race, the only dark horse would be Sam because he was not here in the test race. So Gila and Sam, I would say, would be right up there.
Okay, cool. Everyone's on track.
Sweet. Group 3 pole could be Safa, Lorenzo, EcoBoost.
Someone that's only exiting the pits now. That is JOO. Okay, he managed to change his tires from hards to softs.
Yeah, he would have struggled in quali on hard tires.
Right.
Okay, so Safa's out in the Merc. That's such an awesome looking and sounding car. It's just a pity, yeah. It's
Big heavy V8. We're going to see a lot of sparks.
Yeah, you know, the irony in Group 3 cars are that people are always saying, it's a very heavy, big V8, or like, for instance, in other forms, the Bentley is very big. You know, it's often referred to as the Boatley. But these cars all make more or less the same power and all weigh more or less the same weight. So
yeah, they do get BOP'd as well.
No, they get BOP'd and the weight gets in, like, you know, add 10 kilograms there, drop 10 horsepower there, depending. I mean, how do you make a naturally aspirated 6-cylinder run with a twin turbo V8? You have to BOP it, right? There's no other way to make it work.
That's
and
right.
But the irony is that people just say, oh, EcoBoost dropped it in the first lap, but he will...
Well, this would be his tire. So he has to make... oh, no. And he's got heavy damage.
But he should not hold up the other guys now. That is not right. Ooh, that's not what you should do. He gave... Was it Dina? Yeah, he blocked Dina a little bit there. And
Leap.
And Leap. That is questionable, in my opinion. He should have, if he messed up his lap, he should have gotten out of the way completely.
Okay, so it's not heavy damage because I see that his car is mended
again. Yeah. Okay, but maybe we'll have time to get another lap in. It's a 5-minute session.
5-minute session. Yeah, he should. Because this, I think each lap is about a minute and. Well, we'll find out what's a lap.
Yeah, Group 3 is in the 1 minute 45 or so, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's got a minute and a half to finish his lap and start the new lap, so he'll make it.
Yeah. So Kyle is about to finish lap 1. First flyer. Obviously, the first flyer is the best opportunity. Your tires in the best state.
And he's got clear air.
Kilogram on a 1:58, that's a Group 2 lap time. There we go, Carl just did a 46.4.
He did say that he's testing out new pedals, so that might cause him a bit of frustration. We got Dutchman in a Group 2 NSX trying to get Safa out the way.
That looked very awkward. So Gillibrand,
the rule is for the lower class cars to stay on the racing line, and it's up to the faster cars to make their way safely around.
No, definitely. It's just in quali, it just looks a bit awkward in quali, where you get held up and whatnot. So we've got Lorenzo almost a second ahead of 9/10 ahead of Kyle. For Group 3 honors, we've got Gillibrand currently leading Group 2 with Sam, Leap, Fast Frost and Dutchman. So Sammy is 8/10 down on Gillibrand, so that's quite a... No, Sam is 8/10 down. So Gillibrand's got quite a fairly strong
commanding
Strong
lead.
He's a bit slow on this lap, so I doubt he's going to improve here. Gillibrand, Sam. Let's see if Sam can pick anything up here. Or what is he going to run on the next split? There's a split coming up shortly. He's 4/10 up on his own time, which will still not be enough. So I think that's going to be second place for Sam. Kyle is third. JOO has moved up to second in the Group 3s. So Sam across the line. Oh, Lee popped up to second. Lee put in a very good second lap. Let's just
go take a look. He's 2/10 down on Gilla.
Yeah. And Sam also improved a little bit. So it's about 5 to 6 tenths between the top three. A bit of slipstreaming, 3 tenths means nothing with this long straight in the slipstreams. Yeah, so that could be interesting. And then a group.
Look at their lap times. Okay, well, we'll find the lap times now.
There we go. So we've got Gillibrand, Leap, Sam, Dutchman, and Fast Cross. That's the top 5 on the Group 2s. In the Group 3s, we've got Lorenzo, EcoBoost, Safa,
JOO Pace, DC Gaming, Wolfie, Catfish, Dino, Reaper, and Tribs.
Surprised that Dino.
Tribs with a 10-second gap. Oh, well,
yeah,
that's a Group 3. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, he's about 3 seconds away from Lorenzo. But I mean, look at Dino. I expected Dino to be way up higher than that. So he must have not had a great lap.
Well, 5 minutes of quali. I suppose if you get a little bit of traffic, you get put off from that lap, and you only got 2 shots.
You've got 2 flying laps and a lot of traffic. So, well, we saw his 1 lap was messed up by EcoBoost.
Yeah. Okay, so the top 3 are running fairly close to each other, with an NSX in front.
Yeah, no, that's maybe he knows something that the other guys don't. But look, the Nissan is always a good bet in Group 2. It's always been a good car. So 2 minutes and then the race starts. So yeah, no, this is going to be good.
Yeah, it's a full lobby, some fast cars.
Some interesting chat going on there. I wonder if there's a reason EcoBoost was so far off track. Unfortunately, we don't have the replay system, so we can't show you. But yeah, we can't say for sure. Lorenzo EcoBoost Safa is going to be a good race.
Yeah.
JW
once they start racing, we'll go on track and we'll take a look at the starting tire choices.
That's going to be interesting as well. Because they have to use, so it's a 50-minute race. You have to use all 3 tire choices. You have to stretch to get to about 9 laps on a stint. It gets you to about 18 minutes on your session. So you need 18 plus 18. You need 3 stints of about 18 minutes or so.
Those 9 laps a stint, those were on the GRCs on the test race.
Correct. That's a 16-minute stint. But then you add a pit stop time as well. So last week 3 9-lap stints just about made it. So that's what we're gonna have to look out for. 15 minutes divided by 3. Yeah, so they've got 16.6 minutes. So 9 laps is just about going to get you there.
We did find in the test race some interesting strats where somebody went into the pits early, got rid of their hard tires, and went on softs like after 2 laps.
That was the GR4s, which we don't have today.
Right. Okay.
Although Wolfie did do a weird strat in the last race where he pitted 1 lap earlier. But then at the end of the race, he had to do another quick splash and dash. So let's see, the race is, we're going to the race now. So yeah, thanks again to all the sponsors, Mayfair Gearbox and Dirt, Gorilla Garage.
And Saf Speed.
And Saf Speed. Obviously, this event is to support and raise awareness for the Men's Health Foundation. And I mean, the stuff that Garen was saying there. I myself have a 2-year-old kid, so yeah, it's been. I know what he means by it's hectic, and yeah, being a new dad is not easy. But yeah, here we go, and they're off.
I can imagine. Yeah, so Gilla's in the hearts with Leap and Sam in the mediums.
Okay, so Leap and
we
Sam
got-
needs to get past immediately. They can't hang around.
We had
Dutchman and Fast
Fast
Ross
Ross.
had some contact.
And Fast Ross also had. Fast Ross, I think, got teleported into the. And we've got more. We've got a
Who's
white 11.
spun out there? Oh, was it the white? Dino. Was that Dino that spun out?
No,
Oh, no,
DC Gaming spun out.
Ay, man. First
DC
lap of
Gaming.
50-minute race.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what's happening at the front.
Okay, so they're all running fairly close, as expected. So, yeah, we'd expect Dutchman to be close in 4th place, but it looks like there's quite a bit of gap between P3 and P4.
Sam is having a run on Leap there. I wonder if he's just going to hang back and maybe do a bit of bump drafting. A little bit of lag in the lobby, but not as bad as we've seen.
Yeah.
So the top 3 has broken away. But really, Leap and Sam needs to get past Gillibrand. If he can keep them behind on the harder tires, well, that's going to be game over.
Well, I think it's in Gilla's interest to sit behind Leap and save his hard tires. So he gets a bit faster by using Slipstream.
Well, he can keep Leap behind him, and then Leap can't use his advantage at all. And he wears down his better tires. But then Leap now, let's see if he can keep up with the hards. Good job. If he can't, yeah, it's gonna be tough.
These GR2 cars, I mean, they've got some massive aero, so the dirty air is about a second and a half behind each car. So even though your slipstream is only 3/4 of a second, you're gonna get 1.5 seconds behind some really, really bad understeer, and you'll be using your tires quite a bit if you're sitting behind a car.
Yeah, no, dirty air is not fun in these cars, eh? But I mean, if you can, there's long straights. If you can somehow, okay, so Leap has already broken the slipstream, so he's going to get away now, and Gillibrand will now be dicing with Serious Sam.
Yeah, it's about a half a second gap.
What's happening?
Sam should close in quite quickly. Let's go to P4. This is the Lone Wolf GR2 with some action that happened on the first corner.
Yep.
And now we go to the leaders of GR3. So we've got Lorenzo that's
on mediums.
On mediums.
So Safan EcoBoost has just had a overtake. That's another medium tire car. What is EcoBoost on? Just on hards. Okay. So
JW Pace is on mediums as well.
All right.
It looks like quite a battle for 6th.
Well, for second in class. These guys are battling for second in class. But EcoBoost is on a harder tire, so if he can keep Safa occupied. Remember, Carl said he's got new pedals, which I just think is an excuse. Should be interesting. Quickly see what's happening in the YouTube chat. Siganator says Cornay Verstappen, so that's obviously pointing towards Leap. See Jeremy's being a clown, as always.
Kettles, what's up? Jonathan Bell. Affinity, hey Rev, what's up? Donut King. Elwayne.
Elwayne, Lorenzo never heard of her.
So that's the chat. Yes. Okay, so
yeah,
the battle is getting a little bit more intense.
EcoBoost is doing a bloody good job keeping up with Safa there. JW with an hard yard. That, I mean, if you can for entire stint stay with a medium class car, That's job well done. On the flip side, EcoBoost could also be keeping. Oh well, EcoBoost is pushing Safa along because he knows in the corners the medium tires are faster, so this in effect makes him faster.
Yeah.
But Safa could also be running the Valtteri Bottas role, or the Sergio Perez role, where he's just the rear gunner for Lorenzo. Interesting
Let's
stuff.
take a look at the guys behind. We've got JW Pace. He's just out of slipstream of EcoBoost right now. Pasros in his GR2 catching up.
Coming back through the field.
He's
Wolfie.
used over a quarter of a tank. Wolfie, the lone wolf.
Also on hard, so and we've got Dino. What tires are Dino on? Also on hard. So these guys they're all just out of the slipstream range. So, I mean, yeah, they're kind of just all. Well, Reaper's close enough to catch up to Trivs. Folks are going for it. Cutfish over there, and DC Gaming after that big spin in lap 1.
The one thing we've got to worry about is Catfish ramming his teammate in front of him.
Is he known for that?
the closer you are to this guy, the more risk you take.
I mean, the more lag you spontaneously get.
Well, he's got a bit of an overtake going on. But
these
from the outside.
These folks they're fighting each other very hard and actually losing position. They should, being teammates, they should maybe work together.
Yeah.
Look, as teammates, you know. Oh, Dino spun out.
Dino. And Dino has been overtaken by DC, who's 5 seconds behind. He's got the most number of stickers in the lobby.
Yeah. Reminds me of NASCAR, you know, when they have all the stickers on the door.
Yeah. NASCAR. Let's go take a look at.
Let's see what Leap's doing on his softer tires. Is he pulling enough of a gap on Gillibrand? Only 2 seconds. I don't think that's enough. The tire difference should be, what, half a second to a second a lap? Which means that Leap is not doing enough. I think Gillibrand is having a strong race here. I mean, what are their lap times? 1:40.1. What did Gillibrand do last lap around? 1:40.1 difference. Mm-hmm.
So he's doing the same lap times, but he's on a harder tire.
Yep, which is not very good news for Leap. Leap is going to have to. I mean, Sam on the mediums in the slipstream looks like he's struggling to get past Gillibrand on a harder tire. So, no, Gillibrand's doing a really good job. These guys really feeling.
Well.
Something happened to EcoBoost, or he had an issue, or just go see. He was behind pace. He lost 5 seconds, so he must have had an issue. He wouldn't have just dropped that much. Yeah, he had a 55-second lap. So he was between Carl and JWO, and he dropped behind him by 5 seconds. So something must have happened.
I think he might be serving a penalty because I saw him grey out.
Okay. Interesting. So he's now being caught by Wolfie. Wolfie's also on the hard tires, so I don't think they will be. They're also teammates, so if anything, they'll probably work together if they get close enough. But I expect EcoBoost to start pulling away again. I mean, he was running medium pace on his hard tires a bit earlier. So the KBR guys are actually. They're doing good. EcoBoost had an issue, but I think it's a long race. He'll still come back because he's running. EcoBoost and Gillibrand running the harder tires, but they're running the pace of the mediums.
These two guys at the back are gonna have such a tough, lonely race. You got DC 7 seconds behind Cat, and you've got Dino 3 seconds behind DC. Take a look back at the front.
Yeah, the
2 seconds still maintains. We expected 2.5 seconds, at minimum 2.5 seconds of gap.
yep. I definitely think
Gila's doing a
Gillibrand.
fantastic job.
Yeah, he's got the pace. Ooh, that looked. Yo, that's
It's a bit sketchy.
Sam going through a move with a bit of lag and yeah, a bit of everything in there. Trying to send it around the outside. I just hope the way they see it live is a little bit better than the way we see it.
Yeah. Oh, we've got some real argy-bargy stuff going on here in P2 and 3.
Yeah.
Well, Sam's got the position now. And he's on the faster tire. So, look, I mean, either way, Gila's winning because he's got slipstream and he's doing some really good lap times. So hopefully he can take advantage of his hard tires.
I'm predicting when he goes to mediums and the other goes to hard, it's going to be a second and a lap faster at least, if not more, because if he can almost match the lap times on a set of harder tires, remember the other guys, Sam and Leap, will probably become a second slower due to hard tires, and he will probably become a second faster. Half a second, you know what I mean? So it's going to be like a 1.5, 2 second delta that's going to happen the moment he puts his mediums on and they go to hards.
Yeah.
So no, it's going to be a big shift.
Gap is opening up.
See, Sam's got the fastest lap of 39.6. JW Pace just got past Safa. It must be those pedals again. Both running medium tires. JW is doing a really good job. Lorenzo is running away at front. He started on pole, broke the slipstream, and
He's
yeah.
going. Yeah.
Unless he spins out, which I doubt he would. I don't think anyone is seeing him again. He's
What
having
tires?
mediums.
Okay, Lorenzo's on mediums, yeah. We've got Dutchman going into the pits quite early.
I think what can happen, the Group 2s can do more laps, so it might be a case of he's pitting as early as possible to get rid of the hards, because they don't need to do a full stint. They don't need to run all the fuel, so then on the next 2 stints they can run full stints of mediums and full stints of softs.
Also, the lobby rules is that you got to use all 3 tire compounds, hard, mediums, and softs. Dutchman in the pits as well. Oh, well, no. He's still in the pits. Oh, he's going to come out.
Yep, okay, there we go. Full tank, medium tires. Problem with Dutchman and Fast Ross, they had issues in the beginning of the race, so they kind of racing in no man's land. And the top 3 guys are running at such a pace that if you're not with them, you're not really going to catch up to them.
Yeah, they're just going to run away with it.
So Lorenzo is doing a Verstappen here today. Just doing enough to not be bothered by the other guys.
Looks like the gang is spread out quite a bit. I see a bunch of guys that are close to each other. And we've got Catfish and Reaper fighting with each other.
Yeah, Catfish got past Reaper a couple of laps ago and she hasn't really gotten away. It's just...
Well, they're fighting with each other, so they're just losing time.
Yeah, Reaper's just sitting there in the slipstream being tagged along. So you need to be half a second faster than someone to actually get away from them here. If they can stay within the slipstream range through the midfield or the infield, they'll just, on the straights, just stay with you.
Let's take a look at DC. He was 6 seconds behind Reaper, now he's 9 seconds behind. And Dino was 3 seconds behind DC, now he's in overtaking position now.
So Dino is doing what Dino does best, spins out and then races through the field and sets fastest laps. The man can't catch a break.
Dino's on 49.5.
Yeah, running hard tires. So
look at the leaders
look at EcoBoost. Go look at EcoBoost because he also hard tires. Okay, he's running 47s. 2 seconds.
47s on hards. Yeah.
Okay, he's how many laps? Oh, he's 9. They just started lap. Well, Group 2 started 9. I don't think they've been lapped yet. So they will be pitting next time around, end of lap 9.
End of
Races,
this lap,
yeah.
EcoBoost and Safa will come into the pit.
So they've been racing for 15 minutes. They need to get 16.6 minutes every stint. Remember, the pit stop itself adds to your stint time. So, yeah, they're pretty much on target. Guys are on target. Oh, Leap of a penalty.
Leap with the penalty, and Serious Sam just overtaking Leap. Well,
Leap
they're fighting
defending.
very hard, but I mean, Leap still has a service penalty.
Oh, this is just so playing into Gila's hands. He is licking his lips at this point in time. He's just sitting there on the harder tires.
And looking at these three, I mean, you can see that there's one of the back markers. They're coming up to the back markers now.
Interesting that he hasn't pitted yet to shorten his hard tire stint. Oh, DC Gaming went wide. I think what Gila might do is do a full hard tire stint, then do a full medium tire stint, and then at the end of the race, run with a half fuel soft tire, so you can absolutely obliterate everybody else. Because let's face it, he doesn't need to run softs now or mediums now because he's keeping up. Okay, there's all the Group 3 guys are pitting in. Safa's doing an extra lap. Oh, he's fuel saving. He's going 10 laps. Interesting.
Let's go take a look at it.
Safa's doing an extra lap.
Fuel saving.
So new pedals is code for I'm doing an extra lap.
I think this lap is going to be really slow. Well, I mean, his lap 9 was 47s. He's been doing 48s and 49s all this time.
Yes, but EcoBoost has been doing 47s on hards, and he's
Killer's in the pits.
Fuel is finished, so...
What do you think? Killer's going to go on softs or mediums? You probably...
I would go mediums now,
mediums,
and then I would go softs at the right at the end, on needing to do less laps on the softs. What is interesting is he's got 3% of fuel left, and the other guys didn't have to pit. Does that mean the other guys have been saving fuel as well? Because Sam and Leap didn't pit, so they must have been saving fuel, while Gila was absolutely sending it.
Gila, full tank mediums.
Yep, there we go, and then it's going to end on the 3/4 tank softs.
So what we're expecting is some undercut going on as soon as Sam and Leap come into the pits.
Look, if Sam and Leap pit now and they put softs on, then Gila won't just be able to get past them. But then they're going to have to end on hards right at the end. And it would mean that Gila will be on softs at the end, and he would, that'd probably be 4 seconds a lap. Safa pitting on 0% fuel.
He probably ran out of fuel and coasted into the pits.
Yeah. Let's see if that works for him. That means he might need to do a 1 lap less on the hards, shorten the hard stint a bit. Serious Sam just managed to finish. Leap saved a bit more fuel. So Sam and Leap definitely were saving fuel a bit more than Gila. Gila's gonna fly now.
Yeah, we're expecting something sub 39.6.
Yeah, this is his out lap. So the next lap he's probably gonna run. It won't surprise me if he runs a 58. 58. Yeah.
Like we mentioned before, that he knows something that we don't. I mean, he's the only one running the NSX. Oh wait, no, Dutchman's running the NSX.
Yep. Okay, the other guys are still in the pits. So yes, they're coming out now. Sure, they're all coming out together, but he's going to be warmed. There we go. Undercut. Ooh, Leap is sending it into turn 1 or turn 2.
Oh, that was such a hectic traffic jam.
But Gila's got the better tires. So Leap jumped Serious Sam as well. What tires have Leap and Sam got on now? I think it was hards and softs. So Leap is on hards.
Sam's on
is on
softs.
soft.
Oh,
They...
Gila.
No, the fact that Leap is slowing down tells me that Leap
Yeah,
accidentally bumped
there
him
might
off.
have been, yeah, there might have been contact.
And the fact that Sam also waited tells me that all three of them were bumping each other off. So,
Okay, so we got Sam taking Leap's position.
so Gila's on mediums, and he probably won't want Sam to come past him. Sam is on soft.
I'm gonna go back. I saw. Was
Why
that
is
Leap?
Yep, Leap is letting
Leap spun off.
Must be.
Yeah, Leap spun off.
That's not. After all that work.
He spun off, trying to exit onto the back straight.
On the cold, hard tires.
Oof. Okay, so we've got some close battles with Sam and Gila.
Looks like Gila had a Group 3 car slipstream to keep him ahead.
Fighting through traffic.
And Lorenzo still leading Group 3s. What tires does he have on? Let's go through the Group 3s quickly.
Okay, so Group 3, yeah, P6, Lorenzo running hard tires. He's got 3/4 of tank left. Terrible of pace, soft tires. And
So
he's doing
lap.
47.5s.
And what's Lorenzo doing?
Doing
48.
40,
Okay.
48. 48 on hards.
47 on soft.
So on soft. Safa, this should be his first flying lap. The last lap was an out lap.
Yeah.
So we'll find out, but he's on hards.
I wonder if he's... EcoBoost is now on mediums.
47.7s. Wolfie.
49s on mediums.
49s on mediums. That's really slow for Wolfie.
Reaper's 49s and softs.
Yeah. Catfish.
He just came out of the pits. He's on his first flyer now.
Yeah. I want to take a look at Dutchman. I think he went into the pits earlier than everybody else, and he's running in P3, 7 seconds. Okay, so that's about the right place.
Yeah, but Leap spun, so that's why he got. That's why he gained that position.
Yeah, so he's still in the right place. Let's take a look at the back of the grid.
Sam is leading at the moment.
Okay, so we've got DC going dead last. Trivs second last, and he is 3 seconds away from Dino. 10 seconds away from Cat, and he's been running some slow times. 49s on his mediums. Go back to the front. Sam with a 2.7 gap between Gila and himself.
I see the guys in the chat. I'm just going through the chat quickly. They say the NS6 is heavy on fuel. Yep, we can see that definitely. But I think the Group 2 cars will still be, even though it's heavy on fuel, it should still be happy enough to do it without stress. Yes, Alan, watching the fuel gauge, definitely it's important. These oaks are... The Strat is 999. Carl went 10 laps, so he might have a shorter stint on the hards or a lighter stint on the softs, depending on what he wants to do.
Ravidity, I don't know what you're talking about. Leap threw in less fuel. I checked his fuel gauge compared to him and Gila. They're about the same. I think Gila was a lap earlier. So if you look at Gila is what's that? 5/8. Leap 5/8 as well.
Yeah, what I think is Leap went onto the hard tires. He probably didn't fill up because you don't need to do 3 full stints with the Group 2 cars. So knowing that he went onto the hards, he's doing a shorter stint, so he didn't fill up all the way. Where Sam probably filled. That's why Leap jumped Sam in the pits, because Sam filled up completely.
Yeah.
Because Sam was going on the soft, but he wanted to do a full stint. So Leap probably short fueled by a lap or two, went onto the hards, was in prime position, and then spun out. So he will be on the softs at the end. Now we're getting into proper nighttime.
Yeah. Kennels makes a good point. Is that Dean's currently racing in VR? Oh, Gila, what have you done?
Ooh, trying to go around the outside. That is bringing Sam back into the fight. Gila is going to have to absolutely send it on the softs at the end. That was a very silly mistake. Dutchman is right behind him now.
Dutchman's a bit of a dark horse there. He's just quietly just gaining positions while everybody else is making mistakes. Well, Dutchman had his first mistake on turn 1.
Yes.
Yeah, so Kennels made a good point, is that Dino is racing in VR. And all these spins probably making him a bit sick.
You get used to VR. VR is, the first time you play VR is not so great. And some people can't get over the motion sickness, but also the amount of VR, the amount of races that we've practiced and commentated on, you should be VR trained by now. Yeah, it's a different experience. It's awesome, man. It's not always the easiest to race in, but in terms of immersion, nothing beats it. So, Gillibrand and Leap and Dutchman all made mistakes. The only guy that didn't make a mistake so far is Sam, and he's leading by 12 seconds. Ooh, there was an accident. Gillibrand again, getting into a tangle with a Group 3 car. He's making his life so difficult.
Might be the nighttime racing. He's got damage all over.
Yeah, there was definitely some contact. So Ravinity is just saying he saw Leap come out of the pits with less fuel, and like I just said, I think that's so that he can run a shorter stint on the hards, because you don't need to do 3 full 100% stints.
Stints on the GR2s.
On the GR2s, yeah. With the GR3s, you need to run full fuel. Unless you race like Kyle, that he races like he's filling up out of his own pocket.
So looking at P234, they are 15 to 18 seconds behind Serious Sam. So Sam has taken a 15-second lead against all of the other GR2 cars.
Well, so Dutchman spun out in the beginning of the race. Gillibrand was right behind Sam. He had two events in 2 laps. Leap spun out next to Sam when they came out of the pits. So he's honestly
the only one with no mistakes.
He's the guy that no big mistakes, and he's got the fastest lap. So okay, he's running the fastest tires at the moment. But I mean, even if Gillibrand Sam's going to go to hards and Gillibrand's going to go to softs, I don't think he's going to make up that time. That's too much time.
Yeah. And we are past the halfway mark. It's a 50-minute race. We are 28 minutes into it. Sam, what have you done?
Wide. Luckily, not a bad one.
This is the commentator's curse. Yeah. Let's walk through Group 3s.
Lorenzo slowly being caught by JW Pace, but Lorenzo is on much harder tires. He's on hard, JW is on soft, so he is expected to catch him at this point in time. EcoBoost back to 3rd place. He got past Safa. He's got softs to go at the end. Safa's on hards. He's going to run softs at the end, so they're going to run very similar tires. Wolfie's hard, medium. He's going to run softs at the end. Reaper's on the softs now. So he got away from Cutfish. They were running.
I wouldn't say that that's getting away.
They were running side by side a moment ago.
Dino. Blue flags for Dino. So Dino is being lapped by another Group 3 car.
No, that's Fast Ross coming through. That's Fast Ross, 2 cars behind coming through there.
Okay, I didn't see that.
I saw he was in 5th place. There's no Group 3 car in 5th place.
Dino running the SMTS livery. Dino make tuning series.
I think Dino should be sponsored by Pirelli of the amount of spinning he does.
Okay, so Fast Ross took the
Fast
some
Ross was
laps on
taken
these
out.
guys.
Well, it looked like Fast Ross was taken out in T1, and that was basically
Well, it
from
was
that.
him and Dutch.
Yeah, but Dutchman didn't have quite as bad a spin out as Fast Ross did, so
Yeah,
I think that was basically him circulating by himself for the rest of the race, hoping someone makes a mistake. We're only
yeah.
halfway through, and we've seen a lot of mistakes already. So, Triv in the pits. I don't think he can make it.
That's way
Sure,
too early.
he's not going to make it to the end unless
Group
he.
3 cars should be doing 9 laps each.
Yep,
Stint.
he's going to do another stop. He's going to definitely do another stop.
Well, if that's the case, DC is in with a chance of not being last. Yeah, DC did it end of lap 9.
So I see Gillibrand
Hang on,
got past Dutchman again. He's actually catching back up to Sam, eh? But
very
let's
slowly.
see.
I mean, it was 15 seconds, and now it's only 14.2.
Yes,
We
but
got Gilla on the mediums.
Sam's on the softs.
Yeah.
There,
And we
Gilla
got Gilla
fastest
with the
lap.
purple sectors. Yeah,
Fastest
there we
lap,
go.
39.0. So let's see if this man can get his consistency back. They're probably gonna stop. He or you'll run this tank till the end, and then you'll have a shorter tank on soft.
I see Gilla starting to use TC, a wise move.
He's had that since the beginning, which was interesting.
Okay.
I mean,
I didn't notice him having TC on.
I saw that. I was interesting to see guys racing with TC. I'm not used to it. Not in Gran Turismo.
Some of the cars help you a bit more on the handling, so overall your lap times go down because you're not spinning the car all over the place. Dutchman on his last stint.
Just came out of the pits with soft tires.
So this will be his last stint. He's going to try and make it last 18 minutes.
Yeah, I should. I mean, the Group 2s, I think, can go 12 laps on a stint. So they should just about be sorted out there.
Fast Ross catching Dutch.
Fast
Ross still needs to go and pit for softs.
Yeah, he pitted just a couple of laps ago, so...
Yeah, and he's coming up to lap his teammate. Let's hope that his teammate doesn't take him out.
Did Cuts just do something to you at some point?
He's done something to everyone. But we still enjoy racing with him.
I'm new to most of these guys racing here, so I'll take your word for it. So Lorenzo and JW Pace in the pits. Lorenzo's going to go to the soft tires.
Fast Ross should be going into the pits now. He won't make another lap without this. So yeah, Lorenzo in the pits, JW Pace in the pits. So Lorenzo will go onto his softs. That will be his final stint.
JW will go to hards because he started on mediums, I think.
Yeah.
And Kyle is also in the pits. He's going to go onto his softs. So he did the shorter stint on the hards.
Yeah. So did he start off in softs or mediums?
Mediums, and then he did hards, a short stint on the hards, and then he went to... So Lorenzo out in softs, full tank. JW out in hards, and Lorenzo's race to lose, eh?
So all the Group 3s are in.
Yeah, so the strat is they're running different tires at different times, but everybody's running the same fuel strat, except for Carl.
Reaper's taken 1 lap short on the stint. Well, this would be his final stint on mediums. Let's take a look back at the leaders. Serious Sam, 13 seconds ahead of Gilla. It was 14 seconds when we last looked.
Yeah, Gilla in the pits is going on to his softs now, and he's going to absolutely send it. Now's the question. When Sam goes onto the hards, if Gilla can pull 2 seconds a lap, which is not impossible, That would put him at like seven laps to close the gap.
Yeah, because Sam has to run four more laps? 4 more laps or 3 more laps on really worn softs. I mean, his right rear is probably only got 2 laps of life in them.
And then he needs to go to hard. So they're going to get...
Gilla's got a chance. Gilla's definitely got a chance.
But it's gonna be close, eh? But yeah, let's see. But it needs to be perfect. He can't have any mistakes. So Gila went full tank. So the NSX, you have to by the looks of it, the NSX you have to run. I was thinking you would go a slightly lighter tank for the last stint, but the NSX is clearly a bit more thirsty.
48 seconds. Okay, so we're gonna come back to this in a couple of laps.
Yep.
The gap was 13 seconds, and we're gonna see if this undercut, the
EcoBoost
second time that Gilla's undercutting.
EcoBoost is just out of the pits. He is 6 seconds behind JW pace, but he's running softs and JW is running hard, so that might be something to watch as well.
That's what, a 1.5 second difference or 2 second difference?
Oh yeah, I would say at least 1.5 second difference. So let's see. Obviously the hards don't really wear. It's like driving on very old leather or something like that. It can go forever. Lorenzo's gone. He should be doing fastest laps. Let's see what Lorenzo's fastest lap is. His next lap will be full blown. This is his first flyer out of the pits. Also notice at the end of the stint the guys are going faster because they're lighter. So their new tire full tank runs are not necessarily their fastest runs.
Yeah. Okay, so
he's about to finish his lap,
crossing the line. 1:46.6.
That's his fastest lap.
That's 2 seconds. That's 2 seconds. No, 1 second faster than his medium pace.
Let's see what JW pace is running. 49.3. So that's 2.8 seconds faster. So EcoBoost is probably going to run. He did a 46.6 before his pit stop. And that was on the worn mediums. So I'm expecting, but at low fuel right at the end. So I'm expecting him to be running high 46s, low 47s on this as well. So he's catching JWO. He's already caught over 2 seconds.
Sam is in the pits. Let's go take a look at Gilla and where Gilla's going to slot in.
So also remember, there was like 13 seconds gap, but Sam is going to take a shorter pit stop. He doesn't need to fill up his tank. So Sam is going to have a shorter pit stop. But Gilla is... We'll see what lap time he does at the end of this lap. This is his first full flyer.
75 on hards. Sam's at the pits.
59.3. That's not his fastest lap, but he's still running full tank. So see, Sam actually pulled some gap. He's now 19 seconds ahead because
it's dropping. It's dropping right now.
Because Nissan is a bit better on fuel. There it's equalizing at about 16 seconds. And it was close to 12 before, so that's a 4 second, call it a 4 second gain that he had in the pit stop.
He's going to need all of it. Because we got, 12 minutes to go. 12 minutes to go, that's 6 laps.
I don't think so. I think Sam's got this in the bag if he doesn't make any mistakes.
I think it's going to be quite close, because if you've got a 2 second differential, 6 laps to go, that's 12 seconds. And Sam's got 14 seconds now ahead. So it's going to be really close at the end. Let's take a look at down the field. So we've got Lee. That's 11 seconds behind Gilla, and he had that spin. Dutchman 1 second behind, and Dutchman had a spin in T1. Pass Ross, 50 seconds behind Dutch, also had a spin in T1. I think that was the contact with Dutch.
Yeah. But he's 50 seconds behind, so he's out of contention.
Lorenzo doing really well with his 46s, low 46s.
46.3. EcoBoost is past JW pace already. He did a
Yeah.
45.6.
Oh my God, that's quick.
The man is absolute. He is probably kicking himself for the mistakes he made earlier in the race.
Yeah.
Because he's running better pace than Lorenzo at the moment. But Lorenzo doesn't have to push. The man's got a massive gap. He's got 9.5 minutes to go. So, yeah, he's just chilling at the front here, managing his tires. Let's see, Safa, he should be on soft tires. He should be catching JW. What's the gap? 8 seconds. No, 12 seconds.
12.
And he's only doing 47s. He's running very fast, but it's fair to say he's only doing 47s.
EcoBoost and his 45s. 6.2. Okay, Catfish overtakes Reaper. Reaper? Well, I think there's a pit stop that's missing somewhere.
Reaper
Okay, so
pitted
Reaper
on
took his
lap
pit at
17.
18. Yeah. And Cat just came out the pits. Cat is 11 seconds. It was the other way around a few laps ago.
Stop. But he did a short stop at the end.
Yeah.
And then we had Triffs that had that weird pit stop. He did another pit stop now a lap ago, so that's him going to the end.
That is 3 pit stops.
Yeah, he did. He's doing the Ferrari strat over there.
Yeah, because you can see the pit stop at end of lap 16 and end of lap 20.
In all fairness, he's not doing the Ferrari strat from Canada, because Ferrari actually got it right. He's doing the pre-Canada Ferrari strat.
Let's take a look at the gap between Gilla and Sam. 10 seconds. It was, what, 16 seconds?
38.6. What is Sam doing lap time wise? 41.5. 38.6. That's almost 3 seconds. That gap will slowly, that margin between them will come down a bit. Sam will get a bit quicker and Gilla will lose a bit of performance. But 3 seconds a lap, 9 seconds, that's 3 laps away. They've got, 7 minutes to go, so they're going to do 4 laps?
4 laps to go. We've got just under 8 minutes to go.
Maybe finish on lap 5. 4 laps is, they might squeeze in on lap 5. Depends when Sam crosses the line. Might be very close.
Moving down the grid.
Gilla is sending it now. He knows he's all out. He is probably so upset about his mistakes because it was so costly. I mean, he's got the pace, but he must be.
I must tell you that when I race in VR and I'm following a car in front that's giving off all these sparks, it looks absolutely amazing.
Yeah, no, I can imagine. I've done some PC VR and yeah, it's just
follow
so
the spark trail.
To sit in your car and then look next to you and like see your buddy sitting next to you in his car. It's like you're looking at him, your virtual friend there, but you're looking at him. It's just next level. It's like it actually confuses you so much. And I mean, simple things like getting out of your, like I was playing AC on PC with VR and then climbing out of the rig. So standing next to your rig, and I was in the F1 car, and I was literally standing next to the F1 car in the game, looking around at the car.
It's the depth perception. It's something else, because that's not something that you'll get on a 2D monitor.
No, it's not. But it's not just that. It's the feeling, the depth perception, and the spatial of you can stand up out of your seat and walk a meter to the left, and now you're standing next to the car you were just sitting in.
Yeah.
and then you can look at the door of the car, or it was the F1 car, so you can look at the cockpit from the outside, like with the trackers picking you up. It's like you can look, it's a 360 world, you know, everything around you. It's insane.
So I'm looking at the gap in the leaders of Group 3, and EcoBoost is slowly catching Lorenzo, but I mean, both of them are just so fast.
Yeah, Lorenzo's managing it. I mean, he's a professional. He knows. He races real cars and all tires all the time, so he doesn't have a problem. Safa is catching Jay. He's finally in the 46s, but unfortunately the guys in the 46s are now running 45s. Let's go back to the top, see if that is down to 3 seconds now, the top two guys. 6 seconds, so there was about a 38.9, 38.7. What is Serious Sam running? See, Sam is gone almost a second quicker, so that gap is not quite closing by 3 seconds like it was. It's more like 2.5 now, so. No,
4 minutes to go. So it's 2 more laps and 5 seconds. I don't think it's going to be enough.
That's going to be 3 more laps because it's a minute 40 a lap, so that's 3 minute 20 for 2 laps. They're going to get in a third lap, so 3 more laps, yeah.
So it's a 2 second delta in lap times.
It's not going to be in 3 laps. He might be smelling his bumper on the last lap.
Yeah.
Maybe Sam gets a bit of stage fright or gets scared, and you know, when the gap is closing down that rapidly, sometimes it works on your mind, even though you shouldn't be worried. When you see that speck in your mirror getting bigger and bigger and bigger, that can freak you out a bit. So
yeah.
But Sam has been doing this for a very long time. You should be solid.
Yeah, no major mistakes. All right.
Yeah, Ravinity. VR has a couple of drawbacks. It's really cool. The immersion is insane. It's not the most comfortable thing. Obviously, you get different VR kits and stuff. PSVR is some of the best VR around. So,
in this game, especially.
Yeah.
I think Dino, since he's got his VR, he hasn't played a normal race, or at least a 2D race. Every single race of his has been in VR.
Yeah, I mean, you buy a VR headset that costs more than your PlayStation. You're gonna use it, right?
Yeah.
It's if you buy a VR headset for YouTube views, then you use it because you kind of have to buy it because you have to get your views, right? And then for your competitive races, you don't use it. It's a really cool thing. It's definitely not for everybody.
Safa setting his fastest lap times against JWO Pace. We've got what, 2 laps to go?
How is JWO Pace running?
48.9s. So high 48.
You might catch him right at the end.
Right to the end. I think he's going to come down to that countdown. I'm not too sure it's going to be crossing the line. It's a countdown issue.
They're going to do another lap. They're going to cross the line just before. He's going to cross him, and JW is going to cross the lines to do another lap. So they've got this lap and another lap left. What is Sam and Gillibrand running now?
2.7.
So they've got this lap and another lap as well. See, Gillibrand had the fastest lap on his previous lap, 2 laps ago.
Sam
so
running
mid
right and high 40s. Yeah, so that's Sam right there.
It's going to be this lap and then 1 more to go. Then it's done.
1 minute to go. So they will
cross the line, and then they will do
they'll cross it, and
lap.
then they'll do the final lap. We still got what, 1.5 laps to go.
Correct. Sam is a back marker going through the chicane now. Hopefully it doesn't block Gillibrand. Oh, it might just be at the wrong time. You might. he was gaining on Sam so much, but then he lost on the exit because he caught JW in the middle of the chicane. That might be enough to save Sam's bacon. What is the gap between JW and Safa?
7 seconds and growing.
No, Safa lost a lot of time. Either that or he needs to feel safe. But he was involved, not involved, but it looked like he spun
Jay
a
is
bit.
running out of fuel.
Yeah, but they've got 1 lap left to go.
Jay's is...
1 lap. Safa slowed down so he doesn't have to do another lap. So that's race. Safa and Leap's done. KBR's done. So top 3 is top 2 in group 2 are done. So the battle is now Serious Sam. We need to look at Serious Sam and Gillibrand. That's the only guys fighting. 1.7.
Final lap.
I don't think he's going to do it. He lost too much time in the traffic. Look, he had a 39.9. He was a second slower than what he was supposed to be.
Yeah, like you said, he's gonna see a bit of bumper.
He's going to be able to read his bumper sticker, unfortunately. That's about it. He's not quite in the slip. That's it, Sam. 1 more corner to go and you've got it, man. The man that kept his powder dry, kept his nose clean.
Yeah, that's amazing. This was an exciting race. We got a full grid, some tough racing. Who's your driver of the day?
Oh, wait. He's so much faster through the chicane. Half a second. He might pull him before the start-finish straight. Here we go. Is Sam going to hold on?
4/10. I don't think so.
Oh, this is so close. Sam might just hold on. The line is right there. He's hitting the ref limiter. He can't go faster. He was running on the ref limiter.
He ran out of fuel. Oh no. My! Yeah,
he was running on the ref limiter. The car
both ran out of fuel.
The Gillibrand, the car couldn't go any faster. It was hitting the ref limiter in 6.
With the slip.
With the slip. So he was
2/10. That separated P1 and P2 at the end of the race.
Yeah, look, that was the end. Serious Sam kept it clean. He deserves a victory. I think it was a case of what it could have been for Gilly, but unfortunately he made the mistakes and he paid the price.
Yeah.
So it goes. So let's quickly run through the grid. We've got Sam in first, Gillibrand second, Leap came back to third place, Dutchman in fourth, and then Fast Ross, after that bad lap 1, he just circulated in third place.
And group 3, you got Lorenzo, then EcoBoost, JW Pace, Safa, Wolfie, Catfish, Dino, Reaper, DC, and Trivs. Trivs with 3 pit stops.
I think next week you should run a Ferrari and not a Mercedes.
Yeah, I think that's one of the rules that they can't. I think they gotta run different cars from the teammates. So Stephen, who is your driver of the day?
I want to say Gillibrand, but he made too many mistakes. In terms of controlling the race and out front, I would say Lorenzo was driver of the day. He just cruised out in front. Both EcoBoost and Gillibrand, they had very similar races. They made mistakes. They had to fight back through the field. Wasn't the cleanest of races. So I would say Lorenzo, and in Group 2 would be Sam, because he just kept it out of the barriers, out of the grass. Well, he did go on the grass once, but yeah, and they were not the most exciting guys to watch, but they just did what needed to be done, eh?
I'm going to pick the underdogs and go completely against you. I'm going to pick Gilla for the Group 2s because it's close at the end. He didn't win it, but I mean, despite all the mistakes, he still got 2/10 away from P1. And then EcoBoost, same story, is that he's doing some really fast laps despite all his mistakes. So I would say good effort on those two.
No, they had a good comebacks.
Yeah,
So,
cool.
that
Thanks,
was
everyone.
the excitement of race 1. And I believe we're back next week, same time, same place, eh?
Next week, same time, same place. We're going to be running the race at Monza.
Monza turn 1. Amazing.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone. Cheers.